The media is silent about a whole lot. No medical history. They get these shots and suddenly they get these brain tumors and they try to kill their entire family. Everyone that's going to be seeing things that they've never thought they would see. You do hear it's not them. This isn't like them. Holy crap, gumption. Like, oh my God, I can't believe someone could do that to themselves. The staring at me after they bit their hand, it was just very, lack of a better word, demonic. It just seemed demonic. I think we're in for a really dark time ahead. A really dark time.
Hello, my name is Sarah, and I'm bringing you another interview session on the topic of COVID-19 vaccine nanotechnology. This time focused on the subject of vaccine-induced psychosis, for which there is data showing a link between the shots and the immediate onset of extreme psychological disorders. We also have firsthand accounts from vaccinated individuals who are describing things like brain fog, hallucinations, dementia, suicidal ideation, self-mutilation, blackouts, and on and on. And here with me today is Harry Fisher, an outspoken medical professional who has called the rollout of these vaccines a genocide. He has been an EMT since 1997 and a paramedic since 2013. He is the author of a book entitled Safe and Effective for Profit, A Paramedic's Story, Exposing American Genocide, which can be found at fishersbook.com. Harry has firsthand experience witnessing what can be described as some of these post-vaccine induced behaviors, and he's here to discuss some of those incidents today. So thank you for being here. Your accounts are very eye-opening, as I've discussed with you. They've really stood out to me. You talked about like that it is well known at this point in the medical community that, or people who are discussing this, that the shots can alter a person psychologically, but the media is not really covering a lot of that information. In response to some of the distress calls, you've seen patients sewing their mouth and eyes shut, or one in particular sewing their mouth and eyes shut with a needle and thread. You've seen a patient bite off a chunk of their hand into their mouth while staring at you and smiling and bleeding through the whole thing. You've seen self-mutilation. You've seen, suicide by gunshot. And one thing I noticed is a commonality between some of those incidents is there's always a family member or somebody there to validate that, generally speaking, that there's something wrong with the person, that's not them, that's nothing like them, that's not how they normally are. And so I just kind of wanted to kind of dive into some of those incidents with you and see how, like, from your perspective, how did that really go down and what was it like for you to experience? So I guess we can start with the first one with the person who was sewing their mouth shut.
Well, thanks for having me on and exposing everything that's been going on. The media is silent about a whole lot. So, I mean, pretty much anything of true importance the media doesn't cover, as we've all realized that at this point. As far as that particular call, it was startling. You don't see something like that every single day. So, it was spooky. Forgive the background noise. I'm sitting outside. So if you hear motorcycle, but it was scary. I mean, and then the family predominantly, you do hear it's not them. This isn't like them. Because some people, they have a long history of psychological issues. I've noticed with vaccinated individuals that a lot of them, most of them, don't seem to have any history at all. So you're always being told correlation isn't causation, but they're not trying to correlate at all. Like, they're trying to throw that whole out the window. They do not want it to be correlated to the shots whatsoever, for good reason. I mean, they mandated something that's dangerous. So once the public actually realizes that and decides to do something about it, I'm hoping and praying that there'll be a lot of people thrown in jail, and many, I'm hoping, are tried for treason because they've harmed the general public. They've harmed our brothers and sisters on multiple levels, anything from mentally, physically, spiritually. It's just one big abusive program.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely relate to like, I mean, obviously I don't know what it's like to be a paramedic and to be a first responder and seeing this the way you've seen it. But I know the effect that it's had on me and like, loved ones who've died and just being censored, that alone brings so much like frustration, and the the retaliation that you get for speaking out as well. And so I think yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's mind boggling.
Hmm.
It hurts every single time. It's an abuse program. I mean, and sadly, you have all these abused people. It's hard to tell who the real abuser is because people, they either become abusers. You abuse a population, a certain portion of that population is going to become abusers themselves. Some are going to run away, hide. Some are going to fight back, and then there's also the ones that are just going to just try to deny that it even exists. So I mean, it's rough. We're in a rough time, in a rough way. I mean, this mosquito, we're going to go around in circles, but either way, it's been difficult.
Yeah.
That's the land we live in, though. I mean, we are. I don't foresee it getting any better, but right now, I think it's going to get worse before it ever gets better. I'm going to go inside where you don't have to hear the tractors and everything going by because they're just going to get louder and louder. And it's always darkest before the dawn. I think we're in for a really dark time ahead, a really dark time. And I think most people aren't prepared mentally or spiritually for what's actually going to occur. Because I know that I'm spiritually as prepared as I've ever been before in my entire life. And I get rocked consistently, consistently rocked. So I feel for those kids, for those parents, for everyone that's going to be seeing things that they've never thought they would see in their, ever. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like you've been a medical professional for decades, so would you say like have you ever seen anything like that? Someone sewing their mouth shut and their eyes
No,
shut with it,
not like that. No, I mean, I've seen people sew on themselves and stuff. I've seen people cut themselves. I've seen people shoot themselves. I've seen people hang. I've seen a lot. Like, I mean, in all these years, I've worked some fast paced systems. So I've seen some things that you would just be like, wow, that happened. But not really with no history. That age group, that willingness, not that determined to actually get completely shut. That's just, it takes a whole lot of, I don't want to say, I don't want to say it takes a lot of balls, but I mean, it takes a lot of just, holy crap, gumption. Like, oh my God, I can't believe someone could do that to themselves because it's painful and just a very traumatic experience to do yourself. So
yeah, and I think you had mentioned when you're seeing the patient and you're trying to communicate with them, they just give you this strange stare that is
yeah,
like, yeah, I
yeah,
can
it's weird.
imagine. And then they
It's
just
weird.
continue. Mhm.
Yeah, the one that bit their hand, that was. I mean, the one stare was. I mean, there was only one eye that could open at the time, so staring at me was more of a one-eyed glare. But the staring at me after they bit their hand, that was, it was just very, lack of a better word, demonic. It just seemed demonic. I mean, I know that that sounds horror movie-esque, but I mean, I don't have a better word for it. I mean, it was a very demonic experience.
Thank you for actually mentioning that because I was gonna, that is a really important way to frame it. I mean, if that was your experience and you felt evil, that's a different thing than something that could be confined to just a mental health disorder. But in this conversation, there are some people calling this, they are using that language. They are saying, like La Quinta Columna, they're talking about demonic possession related to this stuff. Karen Kingston's talked about these shots connect people to the demonic realm. Joseph Ladapo, the Surgeon General of Florida, said, this is evil. These products are evil. So you've got, I mean, you are in good company in saying like, there is something about this that feels different, right? But I actually wanted to recount that particular incident with the patient who bit their hand off, and I think it started with, and correct me if I'm wrong, it started with them screaming, "Get them off of me. They're crawling all over me. Get them off of me." And then the paramedic said, "There's nothing crawling on you that I can see." And then everything, their vital signs were stable. But eventually, once you got the patient into the ambulance, they looked at you with that strange stare, and they lifted their hand to their face, and they bit completely through their own hand, taking a chunk of the hand into their mouth while staring and smiling at you with the blood running down their face.
Basically, imagine thumb, index finger into that portion of your hand, and yeah, taking the chunk out, and it was rough. It was, yeah. I mean, I would use the term, I use the term demonic, and I'm not saying they were demon possessed, but I mean, I believe in God. I believe in good forces and bad forces, and I also believe people have psychotic breaks. I believe there's a poison that's been put into society, and it causes cancer. It causes, I mean, like in particular, it causes brain cancers. And I know certain brain cancers. I've experienced it. I mean, we're talking about things like this that I have experienced, that certain tumors trigger people, like they snap. I mean, I've experienced. There's a lot I haven't even written down, but I've seen awesome moms never have an issue, always good to their kids, loving. This is how their family told me that they always are. No medical history. They get these shots, and suddenly they get these brain tumors, and they try to kill their entire family. Like, go after their family with a knife. They're sitting at dinner, and then something snaps in their brain, and they start trying to stab their children. Like, this is stuff that's actually occurring, and they end up having these tumors. Um, it's just really, really bad. And trying to tie just cancer alone to the shots whenever they're actively trying to say that there's no such thing as aggressive turbo cancers. We use the term turbo cancer because it's so fast, it's just rapid. They're basically going, there's no such thing as turbo cancer. No, there wasn't ever such a term that we put together for that before, because we weren't experiencing cancers that were coming on society at such a rapid rate. We saw some people, it was very rare back in the day, they got these aggressive cancers, but we weren't watching these young age groups get cancer and then it's suddenly just being so aggressive that the bulk of us in the community are going, that's like a turbo cancer. And that's what we started calling it. It was like slang term for something we'd never seen before. So just trying to tie that to what's occurring is a task. Trying to tie the sudden deaths is a task, because we have an active enemy pushing back against us, and that enemy controls the media, controls the social medias. I mean, I can't say this I can't go on TikTok and say this. I've tried. I've been banned probably 50 plus times at this point, lost account after account, just trying to talk about what I've seen as a paramedic. So whenever you have an enemy that controls that much, it's an offset it's an offset chessboard. I mean, we're basically playing with a few knights, and they've got all of their kings, queens, pawns. I mean, it's just very difficult.
That is so true. I actually looked into what you had posted about being someone who what was the quote? You were in the Pfizer line and you had done CPR in the Pfizer line, and that was the reason that
yeah they called me a terrorist for trying to tell people about that. Yeah, that was. And then you have the active push of online trolls, pharma shields that'll come out and be like, they were in the line, they didn't get their shot. No, I literally call it a Pfizer line because I didn't know what else to call those makeshift weird clinics where they're offering you a donut and French fries to get an experimental medication. So I just called them Pfizer lines. I could have called them Pfizer clinics, but they didn't seem like any clinic that I've ever gone to or been in my entire life, because they were makeshift, spur of the moment, parking lot type crap, where they were shoving this experimental substance on humanity and throwing jelly donuts at you. I mean, it was just so mind-boggling and thing. It blows my mind every time I think about us experiencing that. How could we have fallen so far in fear to go, I really don't care what's in the shot? There was one point in time I tried to post this to TikTok where I think it was Louisiana, and they were trying to get the black community vote. They were trying to get because Black folk, thank God, were actually really smart when it came to this because they were like, oh, we've seen this before. Like, because I have a friend, he was the EMT I worked with, and we were having a conversation about it, and he literally is like, we know, we know what y'all do, and I'm like, y'all, what do you mean? He's like, the government, man. Have you ever heard of the Tuskegee experiments? And I was like, at the time, I was like, well, not really. And he goes, oh, bro, let me educate you. And that's y'all are you African American or black? I'm sorry. I don't want
Yes,
to
yes,
guess in these days, 2024.
yeah.
But still, I mean, y'all have had a past experience of this, and a lot of my community, my white community, we haven't actually been experimented on like this before. Most probably don't even think it was even possible, and that's why they're still in the denial phase. Thankfully, y'all weren't. And there was a lady I was watching in Louisiana, and they put her on TV. I don't know how much they paid her, but I remember her talking to the black community and going, I don't care what's in the shot. I don't care what's in the injection, but I'm going to go get my injection. And I was just like, that is the worst thing I've ever heard before in my entire life. Like it was like, holy crap. And then you had these white guys behind her going, yeah, go out. You hear that black woman? She's telling you the truth. I swear. Here's some money. Go away. Like it was crazy. And they're treating us all at this point in time in our lives like we're disposable. And I hope that everyone figures that out. White, black, Asian. I don't care what color you are. I don't care. I don't care who you pray to. I don't care who you sleep with. I just want everyone to know that we're being used and abused, and we need to come together to stop it. And then we can hash out all our differences later. Like we'll have time to hash out all the other stuff we can hash out around a Thanksgiving table later. But we all have to be upright and able to sit at that Thanksgiving table because at this point in time, a lot of people are just going to be dropping dead, and
Yeah.
that's where we live.
And it's so fascinating, like who has their eyes open to this and who doesn't, right? Because
Right.
there's a lot of people in every community who are just blinded to it. They don't want to talk about it. They really believed, they believed in the vaccines. Like a lot of congregational leaders, pushed it. They marketed it. So that for me was a big personal disappointment to see that. And that was across the board. That was in all different types of belief systems. So the people who are supposed to be there to talk about the spiritual law and the spiritual realm and angels and demons and how this all ties in to that, they're not there to talk really about it. So it's good that, other people are stepping up to do that. So, but I just commend you. I really do. And I could not imagine being in your shoes and seeing what you see every day and then being around other people who, like, you've spoken to other EMTs and other medical professionals to see, like, what is motivating you to continue giving these shots to people. And you've explained some of the dialogue that you've had around that.
It's sad. Money. I would say it's money.
Mhm.
Money is the root of all, as we all know. But I mean, money. They're paying EMTs and CNAs or whatever to give shot for some places $60 an hour or whatever. Like they were paying them crazy amounts of money that they would never make in their entire life. And that with that kind of money, you're going to get a lot of people just naturally looking away. They're not going to be looking for fault. So because they're making too much money to look for fault. And why would you be looking a gift horse in the mouth per se? And they did that on purpose. Everything was very strategic. It just was, and it still is. I mean, they're playing a very long con, and people are dying. And if you would have told me years ago when this all started, when I first did that video, that I was sitting here right now with you, and this would still be occurring, I would have thought that was crazy. Just because I would have to go through years of watching people die from something that I know is actually killing them, and and I have to watch this media say that something's safe whenever we know it's not. Like I would say most of the general public at this point know it's not safe. Like anyone who's really honest, they know it's not safe. Far from it, actually. But we're still having to pander to big business for what reason? I really couldn't tell you, other than maybe fear. Maybe we're all just too scared to actually do something about it because that would require some heavy lifting.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say, like, one of the things I'm part of a group of people and working with a group of people who are whistleblowers, and they're vaccinated, some are vaccine injured, and they actually want to get the word out. So they want to say, like, this is happening, this isn't normal. They, they're adamant, like, some of them, they want to sound the alarm, and they want to get into the conversation and say, like, no, this is much worse than people are framing this conversation. And so it's good to hear them speak out about it, and validating some of the things like what you're seeing and the things that I'm saying too. So, I think that there's a kind of a unifying element to that, where people just want to be honest right now and tell the truth, and so that you're not getting the kind of pushback that we were getting years ago whenever we talk about the vaccine. So that's an interesting development. But all right, so we covered a lot. We've got about 5 minutes, but I think I'll go ahead and wrap up. But I really appreciate you being on. I really appreciate what you're doing personally, and pushing this information. And I just want to give you the floor to say anything, any last words, or anything where people can find you.
Oh, you can find me on X is the only platform you can really find me on at this point. Everything else has kicked me off. I can't really, Rumble might let me, but I haven't ventured out and started any of that. But Harry Fisher EMTP is where you can, EMT paramedic or just EMTP, but Harry Fisher EMTP on X. They at least let me talk. I should say thanks again for getting the word out, for being brave. It takes quite a bit of bravery in this world today to actually stand against Goliath, this huge system that's trying to actively kill you and everyone else. That takes a lot of bravery. So I commend you and everyone that you're talking to, and I'm glad to know you. And I pray that in the end, we see that beautiful end that's in sight. We see the light that's at the end of the tunnel, and I pray that we all keep in mind that God wins, whether or not we're here to see it. God wins in the end. So I'm thankful to know you.
Thank you so much, and I love that ending. Yep, God, this is all about God, and I second that. So thank you so much, Harry. All right, I'll let you get back to your day.
All right, have a good day. Nice talking to you.
You too. Take care.